Okay, good evening. Sorry for the late start. It's actually 6:09 on August 19th, 2019. So we will call the city council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbott?
Here.
Mr. Austin?
Here.
Mr. Blankenship?
Here.
Mr. Eggers?
Here.
Mr. Hukin?
Here.
Mr. Richards?
Here.
Mr. Wertz?
Here.
Sir, you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Wertz, will you lead a prayer and pledge, please?
Okay, let's bow our heads. Father, we're grateful to our military men and women around the world who protect our many freedoms. Let us enjoy the holiday coming as we celebrate the Labor Day weekend with safe travels to all who are on the road. Remember the Franklin first responders, our police and fire departments who put their lives on the line for Franklin. Also, all city employees who provide the many services for Franklin we like. A special prayer for the Parks and Recreation Discover Downtown Franklin and the Farmers Market who make Franklin an awesome city. Be with the Community Arts Show this weekend, and let us remember our mayor who continues to work hard for Franklin, and allow the City Council to continue with our fiduciary responsibilities for the 2020 budget. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any announcements pertains to anything that's not on the agenda? Any presentations? Any public comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda as written. Second.
Motion and second by Mr. Abbott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next, in the whole business.
Move to read all business by title only.
Second.
That's second, I heard Mr. Wertz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, this is a introduction, no, this was not, it's old business, and it will be a public hearing. Common Council Budgetary Ordinance 19-15, an additional appropriation to General Fund Police Appointment Captain 101-007-113 in the amount of $12,122 for Street Commissioner, Police Commissioner, Greg Jones.
Good evening. Quick recap. This is asking to move $12,122 that remain from a crashed cruiser from last November. The car was totaled, so we would like to move the money, appropriate the money to the 100 line item for the police department so that Captain Carter can continue to get a paycheck.
Okay, this is, do we have some questions when we open it up for a public hearing? Is there any? Okay, this is open for public hearing. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
These were insurance proceeds, correct?
Correct.
Do I recall that?
That is correct, yeah.
So the difference between the two dollar amounts?
The 17,000 is what the insurance, was what we received from the insurance company for the car. 5,000 of that was already appropriated and was used for some equipment. I believe that actually happened last year. So the 12 is just the remaining balance for what the proceeds we received from the insurance company less the dollars that have been appropriated and spent on equipment within the police department.
Okay, public hearing. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Move to approve budgetary ordinance 19-15.
Second, I think by Mr. Dugan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Next, it's also a public hearing, Common Council Ordinance number 19-03, an ordinance providing for clothing and equipment allowance and repealing and replacing ordinance number 11-09 relative to the same. Clerk Treasurer, Ms. Jane Rhodes.
Yes, as you will recall, last meeting, this was brought up. It is just a change of wording. We are omitting merit police officer, firefighter, and then just police. If you are not a merit firefighter, which is Chief Cochran, then you may still get the call.
American police officer.
Police officer. Oh, maybe he wants to change.
Yeah, with the allowance, you can do both.
Yeah.
That again, is there any questions before we open it up to public hearing from the council?
No, this is the housekeeping deal.
Yes.
So this is pretty simple.
Okay, we will now open it up for public hearing. Any questions, any comments? Hearing none, we'll. You can't hear?
Can't hear anybody.
Okay.
Can't hear back here.
All right, we just opened it up for public hearing. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Move to approve common council ordinance 19-03.
Second.
Second by Mr. Austin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Move to read this business by title only, Mayor. Second.
Second by Mr. Adams. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Number one, this is introduction only. Common Council Budgetary Ordinance number 19-12, fixing or authorizing the payment of certain salaries of appointed officers and employees for year 2020 civil city. It's just the budget that I worked with department heads, put together, and worked for the treasurer's office, talked to many people, and it's just part of the series of what we're presenting tonight. When we get to the bottom of it, I know it's for introduction only, but I will take comments from anybody that wants to make a comment on the budget. So, that's item number one. Does anybody want to say anything about that one?
Jane, can you again indicate the budget process in terms of dates and
Yes.
submissions and things?
Right.
Review those again.
Tonight is just introduction only. And then on the 16th of September, that will be the public hearing. And on October the 7th, that will be approved.
Thank you.
When is the necessary deadline?
It is November 1st.
November 1st.
So I always like to have it the first in case there is something comes up.
Yeah, we have a buffer meeting for lack of a better word, in case we didn't push something back.
Thank you.
So there's like one buffer meeting prepared.
Yeah, rather than having special meetings.
We've done special meetings before we finish up.
Yeah,
But we don't have.
since we've advanced it, not run into that emergency.
Okay, item number two, Common Council Budgetary Ordinance number 19-13, fixing and authorizing the payment of certain salaries of appointed officers and employees for the year 2020 sewer utility. Again, it's introduction. Next, Common Council Budgetary Ordinance number 19-14, fixing the annual salaries and providing compensation for all elected officials for the year 2020. Again, the elected officials, that's introduction. The next one, Common Council Budgetary Ordinance number 19-16, City of Franklin, Indiana Budgetary Appropriation and Tax Rate Ordinance for the year 2020. I will say on this one, I did ask, we started the IT department, and I did ask for Rick and Matt to come and give us a quick, you know, if I gotta say that.
We prepared our house.
Yeah, so how we got this budget put together this year.
Won't spend a whole lot of time on the budget as is in your packet, and that I know the mayor met with each of you individually. He told me his expectations, and went after the low-hanging fruit, as we called it, the items that were easily found and paid for, maybe by the work of the savings, or maybe it came from City Hall and all. But the one thing that we talked about in discussion, and Mr. Schwartz specifically talked about, that was hardware replacement program. The fact that the city did not have a hardware replacement program. And that is one thing that we won't find in that budget that we wanted to bring to your attention. After meeting with the mayor and the clerk treasurer, we believe that we can actually implement a hardware replacement program with monies that are in the existing budget. We're hoping to actually even implement that this year. I spent an awful lot of time with Matt and Doug Kirby, Matt's staff. We met a lot, and we've identified every machine and service tag numbers, et cetera, and sat down and went machine by machine and have put together a hardware replacement matrix. Due to our partnership with the school corporation, we're going to incorporate our hardware replacement program with theirs and take advantage of possible savings by doing so. So Matt is here in case you have questions in regards to that program, how we intend to make that work. But I know that's something that this council has specifically asked us to address in this process, and we are doing so. You just won't find specific numbers in the IT budget. Again, we're going to have CCI.
You have this, Rick, you guys have a total value of all the hardware that we have?
We've identified each and every machine. I think we've come up with, over the course of 5 years, help me here, I think we were averaging around 23.
$24,000 annually.
23, 24.
Is that for the school specifically?
Oh, no, this
No,
is
that's,
just a city.
this is just what we'll be looking at.
Okay, so you're looking at about 24 new machines each year, approximately.
It's closer to 30.
Okay.
Yeah, it's close to 30, about $23,000 to $24,000.
Okay.
And part of the 104 computers that we found, we're going to do it the same way the school does. You don't need a new PC everywhere you go. So you go into Parks and Rec, and you've got a kiosk there. That does not need to be a brand new computer.
Sure.
So we'll kind of domino effect that.
Sure.
Give somebody else a new computer, so we can be able to use it on a daily basis and do those.
Great, thank you. And the hardware we're talking about, police, fire, everything like that, just city, you guys are separate from this?
Okay, so citywide, what we talked about doing with the police department, and I'll work with Brett on this, is in regards to their squad cars. When they get it, they already have a fleet replacement program, as you know, so we're going to be doing the same thing with the computers. So we'll include a new laptop for the cars. At the same time, they're getting their new car, they're getting all new equipment in that car, they'll get their new laptop then. And then as far as admin and the computers at the station itself, yes, that's a part of this program.
That's where the buying, I'm sorry, that's where the buying power comes in.
We did the memorandum of understanding with the school board to merge or to kind of marry our IT departments. That was only for 3 years, if I remember correctly. How long do we have still left on that memorandum?
I think we're near 2.
We're here too right now.
Okay, so you probably need to look at either extending that or finding out what we can do at the end of next year. Just thinking out loud.
I spoke with Chief Cochran. We also have school resource officer agreements.
Right.
Look at them at the same time.
Sure. Absolutely.
The idea was to get the collective bargaining power both.
Absolutely. I think it's been a great program. I think it's great for the city and the schools. I'd love to continue to do so.
Rick, will the school, as they implemented a Chromebook program, which based on itself and it progresses every year, will our hardware and laptops continue to integrate upward? And I think we had like a 4-year package for those computers, and then they were going to get ending. Will our computers have a life expectancy and then be reused in a lesser position?
Some will. So the answer is yes, some will. They'll be new every 5 years. But the example Matt gave at a kiosk, if you want to call it, a 5-year-old computer may just be just fine for that position. So we've even gone that far. We've identified which ones those are and who's going to inherit, say, a 4 or 5-year-old computer.
Will we be moving to more laptops for the future in the city?
Where needed, most of those needs are in the police department. As far as the laptops go.
What about the fire department?
Administrative, they have laptops in the apparatus, they're a part of this program as well.
Gentlemen, if I may, as you know, I serve also, or attended telecommunications meetings with these gentlemen I finally call the Geek Squad, because they speak in terms I'm not familiar with, and I just sit there and ask questions all the time. I did want to let you know that this budget was also gone through with the telecommunications folks. They spent a lot of time going through it, and it comes here with their review, and I believe it was unanimous support as well. So it's been several months that they've gone through a lot of those things, itemizing inventory, starting out with the budget. So I want to make sure you also gone through that level of review in addition to the.
Because I'm kind of curious, you go into like, when I go to laptops, even with the, on the administrative side, it makes sense to me, even having laptops there, maybe docking station with blue monitors or something like that. So that way there, we keep the same piece of equipment.
Many administrators already have that.
Instead of having a desktop, you know, that.
Many administrators are already set up that way. The mayor's workstation is exactly that. So laptop, docking station, dual monitor. Any other questions?
Appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I will tell you, they did want to put together a PowerPoint. I spent an hour and a half with them going through that PowerPoint. I said, I don't think we need to do that.
Next year, your budget will be more realistic.
Yeah, with Chip.
Okay, that is it on introduction to the budget. Is there anybody else who wants to speak on the budget introduction part? So, okay, hearing none, we'll go on to the next item. Common Council Budgetary Ordinance number 19-17, additional appropriation local road and bridge matching grant fund capital 2019 in the amount of $941,074.20.
This will be just the first reading.
Reduction on. Okay, thank you.
This is just our matching money for our community crossings, which
And have we already received the community crossings grant?
I believe so.
Okay, thank you. Okay, other business. And this is just for information purposes only. This budget is actually passed by the Board of Works. But I did want the council to see, it was the same budget that when I met with each of you one-on-one, it's the same budget that we talked about then, the proposed 2020 sewer utility budgets. So that's information only, and like I said, it's voted on by the Board of Works, but I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Other than that, that's all the other business we have. Mr. Abbott, you got council member comments?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for meeting, I know individually and stuff like that. These last couple of years have been real smooth, no surprises, so I just want to thank you for your leadership in that aspect.
Thank you. Mr. Ross?
I want to acknowledge Judge Van Baylor's here with us tonight. Judge, thanks for coming in. Nice seeing you here. Is there anything you wanted to talk about as far as the budget's concerned, or are you good?
Yeah, I'm happy to say a few words about the budget. I think you all have a copy of the budget of the city funds that the mayor presented. I don't think we're really going to have any issue with regard to that. We've got salaries. We may have a discussion on that. I assume that's at a later time with regard to the record perpetuation fund. Not anything real major. There's no raise at all for the folks in the regular budget. And so I intend to take care of that through a record perpetuation fund. A couple things I did want to address. We're in a new space now. Thank you. It's beautiful. It's secure. I think that's very important. It's wonderful. I think the city is very fortunate to have it. It was expensive. I don't think it was $750,000, but it was expensive, and the city invested in that. I think it's a very good investment. And the judge coming in, I think, will appreciate it as well. I would like it noted that our record perpetuation fund has got a very substantial amount of money in it, and we contributed $134,000 plus in order to assist with the building of that. I would have loved to contribute it all, but the State Board of Accounts said we can only contribute that for the keeping of records and that sort of thing. So we did a pretty detailed evaluation of the cost of the building, and I contributed the maximum amount that we could contribute for that, and I appreciate that. Last meeting, August 5th, I sent Amy McLaughlin in to make what I thought was going to be a very simple request, asking for a line item to be established. And the council voted that down, fine. I have no problem with that. But there were a lot of other tangential issues that were raised, and I would have come myself had I known that those questions were going to be posed. And there was a great deal there that should have been addressed to me rather than to Amy. If any of you ever have any questions about what's happening at the court or the budget of the court, give me a call. I had no idea that there was any difficulty with this request, or I would have been here. I'm always available to discuss budget matters, spending matters, how we run it, all that. I love this job. I love the people that I work with, and they're really quite phenomenal. I think you have used your decision-making power wisely in creating this new space for us. It's now on city property. Nobody can tell us where to go or how to do it. That was a good decision. And the court is good. A lot of bulletproofing, yep, that made it expensive. But I don't think anyone would really question in the sorts of things that we are facing security-wise in this country and in government right now, the validity of making our court as secure as it is. And I appreciate that very much. I'm not doing anything right now with respect to that other line item or bailiffs. I have changed, reevaluating kind of what's available to me after the last hearing. But I did want to note that I would have vastly approved, I would have vastly preferred if a lot of those comments and concerns about the court had been addressed to me either before the meeting or summon me so I can come and answer those. Okay? So call me anytime if you have questions. I'm always here.
Thanks, Judge.
Okay, Judge, I'm kind of confused on one thing.
Yes?
Tonight, we're presenting the budget, and you said you want to talk about something later. The budget's been presented, so if you're going to present something, you need to do it tonight, because
I thought this was just
well,
introductions.
my budget's being presented. And I know you and I talked.
We talked about it. Sure.
We did talk about it, and where
Sure.
you said you were gonna take some money out of the records fund. And
Yes.
If you did that, then that's gonna change my budget, because I'm going to that same salary that it said.
I
The
understand.
council did, so I don't see the point in doing that, so the salary's gonna be what I presented. So that's what I'm getting at, I'm not gonna support giving somebody a bigger raise than anybody else. I just want to get that in the record.
Okay.
That's where I'm at, and I presented my budget tonight.
And that's consistent with our discussions.
That is
I think the budget that was presented had 0 raises for
No, that's not
all three
correct.
employees.
That's not correct. It's coming out, and I thought I pointed that out to you. It is coming out of the record perpetuation fund. And in the ordinance, they're each getting a $500 raise,
Mhm.
including Judge Lloyd. All four is getting a $500 raise. That's where it's at. So we took it out of the records perpetuation fund, and she just said that she didn't want to take more out of it to get a raise. Well, I'm not willing to do that, because of the amounts that's consistent with some of the other people for where
I understand, and we discussed that, and I don't mind at all if those raises of 500, I mean, the basic budget says 0, right?
That's right.
And record perpetuation, we have a difference of opinion as to how much that raise would be. Now, I will say that the city can't spend the record perpetuation funds. The judge can spend that, and I'm quite willing to do that. The city's not spending any additional money to provide the staff, and as I understand, the judge, with any raise. Those are 0 in the city money.
So I guess I'm confused. What's your point?
The record perpetuation,
No, with the raises, what's your point?
my point is that the raises are coming 100% out of record perpetuation.
So you don't want to do that?
No,
You don't want to take any out of there? She just said you can spend that. If you don't want
Yes.
to take the raises out of there, do you not want to take raises?
I do want to take raises out of there. And I'll tell you, the amount of money that we have in there, the amount of money that we bring in that account, it is self-sustaining. It's not in future years where it's going to be, okay, the city's going to have to come up with more money, because the court raises that money.
Okay, so if you want to get more raise out of that, then I'm going to deduct it out of the general fund. Just so we're getting this out here, that's what I told you earlier, that to get to the point where it's the same amount of money. If you want to take it out of there, that's fine, but we're going to take it out of the general fund.
If I
It's gonna
take
be-
more out of the record perpetuation fund, then you want
To
the
deduct
court
the wage,
to
no,
get,
I would deduct the wage out of the general fund to get it the same in the ordinance. That's what I'm
understand.
saying.
I understand. And I'm going to present it.
Tonight, because I presented my budget, and that my budget is what I presented. And that's what we're gonna vote on.
This is just the introduction, this isn't a vote on the budget, is it?
Yeah, I'm presenting my budget tonight.
And that's fine.
So what happens, Judge, next meeting, if you come with any changes, and if you vote on having changes, that means the budget it goes into another two-week cycle. Because
We still have time.
we still have time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you all have been presented with my proposal for spending the record perpetuation money. But let me be totally clear. Any amount that comes out of record perpetuation for salaries is not something that the city is going to have to come up with in the future to maintain those salaries. We get over $300,000 in that account, and I won't be arguing to use that down, because we make enough in record perpetuation to not only sustain offering budgets out of record perpetuation instead of out of the city's general fund. We make enough.
I understand where you're coming from, but I'm gonna cut right to the chase. Amy wanted $1,450 raise. I said I wasn't gonna do it. She said she wanted for the other two girls $1,250 raise. I said I wasn't gonna do it. So however you want to get to that number, we're not going to get there. We will take, if you want to get to that number that you think that I showed you, that's the 48.5, we're going to leave that number. And then I'll take it away from the general fund. So it's however you want to turn it.
I understand, when I present it, if the council wants to vote to reduce the salaries, you can do that. I get it, you can, you absolutely can. So, but I feel as if I should present it. The resulting salaries for my people, I think, are well deserved, and they're not out of line, in my opinion. There are several people that will be making more money than any of the folks in the court. Now, many departments, everybody runs their department a different way, but I will tell you, at least in comparison to the county courts have a full-time judge that manages the staff, does all that sort of thing, but that's not the case in the city court. The staff has to do a lot of things that judges do in other courts. I'm not going to compare my staff to anyone in any other department. I wouldn't, because I don't know what those department folks do. But I do know my folks do. And I do know,
And I will go on record to say that every city employee deserves to make more money, but we don't have it to do that. So-
I would not disagree with it. And you know, it might seem unfair because the court does in fact have the money to do it. Because we've got that record perpetuation fund.
The court
Not a
was
whole-
$94,000 last year, so, okay.
Just for purposes of the legal, because I think Councilman Abbott, you raised this question, it is the mayor's budget that's presented. Certainly, if he chooses at that point in time to lower it, you can certainly lower the budget, as you also know,
We can't
council
go-
cannot
can't go.
increase it, or it will go back to the, so if what I'm hearing is the judge wants to give staff $1,000 raise and mayor wants to then reduce
You can
his
absolutely do
by
that.
$1,000, you can absolutely do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% understand that. And I also understand that a lot of department heads don't have the ability, they don't have the money there. But this record perpetuation money is sitting there doing nothing. Now, it did something this year, 134,009 helped create a new budget. I couldn't have been happier to use it that way. And you can say that the court lost money, and it did, if you look at what the court costs to run and what the city ended up bringing back out of it. Because the court brings in a lot of money, brings in, you know, however many, it varies quite a bit. I think last year was something like 486,000, the year before 538,000. The thing is, not all that comes back to the city. So what the city of Franklin ends up having is a court that costs about 275,000 to run, and then the city gets back from what the court proceeds are, and not less. And that's to be expected. The enforcement and management of traffic safety isn't a business that makes money. But your city court brings in money that goes to the state of Indiana, supports policemen, supports schools, supports roads, supports a lot of things. Now, the statutes say where that money goes. When we bring in 400,000, the state of Indiana gets a lot of it, and they don't have to pay for any of it, because you pay for the city court, not the state. But you pay for the city court to raise that money, the state gets a lot of it, the county also gets a lot of it, and what's left over is not enough to cover court action. Wish it were, but it isn't. But it does raise a tremendous amount and create a tremendous benefit, not just to the city, but to the county and to the state. And we should be proud of having it. You can do the math and lay out the numbers about the court losing money, and you're not wrong when you're looking at Franklin. But when you're looking at the county and the state too, this court does a lot. And I think we should all be very proud of that. So I think you have my proposal with respect to the record perpetuation fund. It's not huge raises or anything. I think you have it. Appreciate you looking at it. We'll have a discussion. I know how those discussions are going to go, and that's fine. That's how government works. And I know that. I appreciate it. And I can anticipate the outcome and just say, hey, I'm not even going to ask because it isn't going to work, but I'm going to ask. And I'll accept your decision with every respect. So,
Thank you, Kim.
any other questions?
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you very much. Call me anytime.
So, is that you, Council Thomas? Was he there?
Yeah, you stop.
I wanted to acknowledge the judge being in the crowd.
What?
Anyone else?
No, he was asking, I wanted to acknowledge you tonight for being here.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak very much.
Do you have anything else to say?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, thank you. Just you. Some words?
The RDC meeting for August has been canceled. The next meeting of the RDC will be September 17th, Tuesday at 8 a.m.
I got an alibi, Steve. Planning commission's canceled tomorrow too. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you. Anything else?
No.
Mr. Akers?
I have nothing additional, sir.
Mr. Martin? Oh, Mr. Akers. Nothing additional, Your Honor. know this road has some.
I do, only know that I have something. As you all know, we are applying for a bond through the RDC, the authority. This is a paper that tells about our rating for what we achieved, which was a AA, which is very good. Everyone was very pleased with that. If you have any questions, you can let me know, but this pretty much explains everything. So we'll be moving ahead.
Anything else?
No, that's all, sir. Thank you.
Jane, is there any surprises in here?
No, sir.
Okay.
First one I ever read, so it was very interesting.
I thought it was very informative, Councilman, and it really is historical perspective on things that you've done in the past that set us up for a good bond rating. And so when Jay and I were talking about it, it's a nice, these are good things, and these are things you have to do in the future.
Good.
And I think most people know, I see some different faces. The bond we're talking about is to go on US 31 to work with a project we're working with the state of Indiana on, where the state's going to invest about $40 million of the state funds. And it's also the one for the amphitheater, so we can get that done and not drag that out over years. So that's what we're talking about.
The bond's paying for the design work on that project. And it's also gonna help too, finally connect the north side, and all the over sidewalks and trails at that beach and high school. And there's a lot to this.
For the amphitheater. And Mr. Richards, city engineer, and I met with some state representatives today, and everything that we've talked about in the other meetings is right on track, and I know they're just about ready to sign the final contract.
DNR. Or the NDOT.
NDOT.
So this is going to be right at that $40 million investment by NDOT.
That is in 2020.
22 start line right away, construction 23.
Just for the record and for everyone, I think you've been informed at the RDC, this is about a $10 million bond, and it's 30 years, and that'll be through 2044. But we need it today.
Yes. So anybody else want to make any comments before we?
I promise I will not be on the RDC in 2040. Know that now,
So we need
okay? I'll be here.
on that, how about a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ayers.